Hi there, welcome back to the latest talk, discussions and possible news on the Sebastian Rogers case. I did do one yesterday testing it out with Facebook for alternative news and talks about the topic, the case. I'm aware that supposedly there is a circus show going on in the background. There might not be much I can do to fix that problem, but if we can put things into perspective, that might help. Now, what's different today? Well, whether you think it's exciting or mild, I'm going to be sharing with you some videos today. You know, you get all the other channels, all the other people doing the live streams as a sit back, play a video, and that's it. Well, I'm going to do something a little bit similar as an experimentation just to see how it works, the reactions from people. I've heard a few people recently have wanted to see more coverage on the Sebastian Rogers case. I know some people have talked about sidekicks and whether they like them or not, wanted to hear certain perspectives. And I just so happened to come across some material in the name of Sebastian Rogers whilst other people have been talking about it and sharing their knowledge on the case or what they supposedly think, including some sidekicks. So what's going to happen today? There are some posts here. I don't know who these people are, okay? Credit to all the people out there who've done the videos or whatnot. I just don't know the people's names, right? But the videos are here, posted on Facebook. Supposedly there are no issues. I just want to mention a disclaimer, if that's even possible. But what I'm looking at here today, I'm seeing it from different perspectives and what people have had to say about the case, and on top adding commentary throughout to transform the videos, to add my insight, my knowledge of past cases and how things have gone about in missing person cases, true crime related, foul play or not, etc., and applying it here to understand and make sense of what's going on within the case and what people are talking about, because there is a lot of talk within the case, and I know there's a few people on my channel that are interested in it and my coverage on the matter. So I'll do my best, I'll do what I can. And just as a further heads up, this is very important so there's no confusion. If this video disappears or is deleted from my channel, that's not because I wanted to, that's because I had no choice or it was out of my control. And this experimentation can serve as a reference for the future that if this goes wrong and it goes bad and I'm punished for it, I know in the future it's not worth replicating, okay? So fingers crossed everything goes okay today and in the future, and maybe we can do a series on this. Not just Sebastian Rogers, but other cases out there. Now, and when I say making a series, I don't mean a series in a circus show style way or promoting that, but just a form of consistency in the future for looking at material and alternative news and discussions, because on Google and on YouTube, it can be limited. And let's be realistic, right? If we're all down to relying on police reports, news reports like that, how often do they come out? Maybe once a month, once a year. If you want only the news about a person or a body being found, that might be one video a year, one every 2 years. It just doesn't work like that. People wouldn't want it to be like that. So there's got to be discussions in between. But I think what people may have failed to do, not all, but some, within the Sebastian Rogers case and elsewhere, the main core foundations, keep a case alive, spread awareness. But you can still do more than that when participating in a case, providing you're using the correct keyword and terminology and appropriate language. If you come up with ideas and theories, but you're not forcing them onto anyone or forcing them in the case, and you're not transforming it as a fact, there is no trouble there. But when people start reaching out and talking as if they know a lot and that things did happen when they didn't or they've not been proven, that's a major issue, and that's exactly what's happened in other cases like Dylan Rounds. So with the knowledge there of what I've seen and experienced, we can see if it translates and if it's similar here as well. So first and foremost, yeah, we do have a few posts, but this person, this account on Facebook, Flap, have posted some videos here. Now, I'm assuming that it's not their videos, someone else's. Don't know if that's any Any problems there? I know on Twitter there can be copyright and it's messy. I don't know how it works on Facebook. Some of these videos could be from YouTube. Unfortunately, the titles or the creators' names weren't mentioned, so I can't just say credit to this person, credit to that person. It's not possible. But if we click here, actually no, let's not, because it just flings me off, useless. Sebastian Rogers wants you to know this. Know what? This is to do with a psychic reading. They've got a crystal. They've got the candle. It's not looking good. That's just my opinion. But I don't dabble in this type of stuff. And when I have heard it, and when people have reached out to me, it's not been helpful in any case I've participated in, okay? The Dylan Rounds case was an absolute shambles when it came to spirit readers, card readers, psychic readers, and all of that glittery, shimmery, sparkly stuff when it came to saying Dylan Rounds was chopped up, Dylan Rounds was buried in different areas, there was lots of blood and gore and everywhere. None of that happened. It was a load of bollocks. Exactly like Kurt Wadsworth's ex-girlfriend that said Dylan was held hostage. Complete misinformation. Will it occur here? I have no clue. This could be completely different. This could be helpful, or maybe not. Well, there's only one way to find out. I will pause the video on and off just because I'll add my thoughts and analysis on the matter, as one should do. If the audio sounds a little bit quiet, understand with the phone I'm using screen recorder with the microphone turned on, which actually makes the background sound, such as music or videos playing, quieter. So there might be an issue there. But it should be okay. I mean, it's quiet for me when I'm listening in, so I've got to turn the volume all the way up, but on playback, it sounds okay. As I said, this is all experimenting to see how technology works and if it's worth doing in the future, and you can always give your feedback down below. So the screen is a little bit too big, should be able to fit it on. I think there are subtitles. So you got the subtitles there. I've just got to try and find the... There we go. Can I hear it? Oh, I've not even got it on play. That's a good start.
Hey guys,
right, so I can hear
Psychic it. Mara. Sebastian Rogers, Psychic.
Okay, so credit to Psychic Mara, wherever they are. I said, I'm not giving credit in if it does lead to misinformation or corruption in the case. I'm just giving credit to the footage and who it comes from, okay? Because it's kind of awkward to do on this platform compared to YouTube. So credit to Psychic Mara, some kind of psychic reader, reaching out to Sebastian Rogers, which not everyone may agree with, I understand that, but just to give it from a different perspective, because I know there's people on my channel that wanted to hear, we'll just play it now.
Downloads.
And I'll pause in between.
Anything we need to know about his case now. Whatever comes out, whatever Sebastian Rogers would like to share with us.
So I'll just say one thing. When you're doing a psychic reading, doesn't that tend to apply to people that have died, passed away? When you're reaching out to people from beyond the afterlife? Like, if someone has died, or it's presumed that they've died, and they've taken a secret to their grave, to do with them, to do with someone else, maybe they're a missing person, presumed dead, but their body has not been found yet. And psychic readers will reach out to that victim, or supposed victim, and ask them directly, can you give us information on what's happened so we can know? And then so the case can be solved and closure can be brought. At least that's how it's gone in the past with cases I've looked at. Kenny Veach, Dylan Rounds, people presumed dead in the past, and then psychics reaching out. Would a psychic reach out to a person who's missing but still alive? Does that apply? Anyone in the chat? Anyone lurking in the background of this video? If you got an answer, feel free to provide it. Is this person jumping the gun when it comes to possibly assuming that Sebastian's dead. Let's just play, see what happens. How long is
These
the
are
video?
new
18
energies.
minutes. Ooh, okay.
So I want you all to keep that in mind. Thank you so much for listening in. Rogers, what would you like us?
Must be meditating, taking it in.
Now, this is interesting because I hear him talking.
Really?
Okay? And the way Sebastian is talking, he is explaining some events that took place leading up to his disappearance, okay?
Bad events, good events, unexplainable.
Yeah. I got in big trouble. Stop, don't touch. I hear smacks.
I got a bit concerned then when I heard that slapping sound. What is going on here? So something bad's happened. Smacked. Yeah, okay, so they're explaining that it was herself that smacked her hand, but to make the noise. Events took place, bad things.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this?
I got in big trouble.
Big trouble. So is this psychic speaking on behalf of what Sebastian is trying to supposedly explain? That Sebastian got in big trouble. For what? For doing something? For saying something wrong? For aggravating someone? I mean, I don't know if any of this correlates to the conversations some people in the community in the chat last night were having, where they were saying how there's a possibility that Sebastian, with being autistic, that it could have led to breakdown in communication with parents or whoever, which then led to a bit of tension or conflict, people getting frustrated with autistic people. I don't know how things go because, at least from what I'm aware of, I've not been around someone like that. And even if I have been around people such as in school who may have had, what's the best way of wording it, possible problems or issues, I wouldn't say they annoyed me, but I guess everyone's got different tolerance levels and maybe some people do snap. I mean, it's different, but there are those times and moments where even a simple situation where you got a crying baby and it won't stop crying or screaming, and for example the mother is saying please stop, and it doesn't happen, and then the mother loses it, breaks down, grabs the baby, starts shaking it to silence it, and then things go wrong from there and it might even pass away. You know, something like that where it gets to someone's breaking point and they're sick and tired of someone. I think that's what other people were suggesting in a slightly different way, but in terms of losing it and getting annoyed with somebody, that's what people in the community were not pushing in a forceful way, but suggesting as a theory within the case of Sebastian Rogers. That if on the day of the 25th or the day before that, if tying in with what this psychic reader is suggesting, that if somehow Sebastian got on the wrong side of someone, a close person or not, that's what could have led from one thing to another. A snap moment, would that really be the case? I mean, as said, a bit muddy waters this. I don't want to go all in. I'm just relaying what other people have been talking about, but at the same time not pushing it in a forceful way. Just to reiterate points, because I don't know if some of it is similar to what's going to be talked about
don't
here.
Touch. I hear smacks. Now that was me who just actually smacked my own hand, because in my third eye, I do see Sebastian smacking his own hand. And that is him.
Sebastian's smacking his own hand. What? I know this is probably completely different, but when some in the community were pushing the agenda with CCTV footage of 2 to 3 adults kidnapping Sebastian in the night time, putting him over his back and slapping him on the back part or something, I don't know, it just reminded me of that, even though it's
I feel
different.
Demonstrating what he experienced in this household.
Doesn't sound too good.
Having to do with his household, his livelihood, what he experienced. He's doing it again, so I'm going to do it again just so that I can keep this connection with him. Oh my, this is hard. Because he's a teenager, and it's like, you know, Who does that? As teenagers, yeah, we get in trouble and but really,
Yeah, but in trouble
he's
for what?
autistic, so sorry. Yeah.
I remember it's a bit different, but because the world politically correct and some people are a bit too sensitive when it came to the UK. I don't know what it was to do with. I think it might have been during the time of the outbreak and lockdown, and they were going on about clap for the NHS, no hope in survival. I mean, National Health Service, same thing. But the NHS, and they were saying clap for your heroes, whatever, even though they sat on the bottoms at times and recorded themselves doing TikTok dances. There were all kinds of whistleblowers in the back regarding that. But yeah, it got to a point where they said, no, we can't clap anymore because of autistic people. So instead, wave your hands about. I mean, I don't know if it's similar to this here. Loud noises or sudden noises can disrupt certain people out there. I know, it's just yet another random event that I remembered in
He's
life.
Smacking his hand stop. I told you to put it back. You don't listen. I'm sending you with your father. It's bad enough he doesn't care for you.
What? What's going on here? Is this highlighting a dysfunctional household or something?
I see a vision pop up in my head, and it's his stepfather. Right after I said it's bad enough,
He
doesn't care for you.
Is it a person called Chris?
He's telling his story. Again, this is leading up to his disappearance.
What, stepfather linking with disappearance?
Sebastian, that kind of hurt. I'm hurting myself, so it's like, wait. Hold on, I can't smack my hand anymore. Ouch, that hurt.
This is not a funny moment. This is quite a serious moment. There's no need to be laughing.
And he's turning his head and he's walking. And then I see the word room. He's apologizing. I was just joking, but he doesn't understand. It's like, no, like, it's okay. Please come back, Sebastian. Tell your story.
Can we just actually get on with what's being talked about?
I'm copying him. Like, he was down, and I see in my vision the word
this
room.
Could be some
so it's like Sebastian is like going to his room, but I'm not telling him to do that. So I'm like, no, come back, please come back, young man, please. I am here to help.
Are we assuming that he's dead or something?
I am definitely here to help tell your story. Get out whatever you want to share, even whoever is responsible for your disappearance, okay?
See, what some people do, psychics, others use spirit boxes. Now, I guess a spirit box would be associated with reaching beyond the dead, the afterlife. Not here, but is this person assuming that Sebastian has passed away? And that this psychic is trying to reach out to Sebastian, establish some kind of report, how you say it, connection, mirror Sebastian, certain characteristics, and replicate the uniqueness of him to connect, to establish that trust, to then receive answers. I guess that's the process what these psychics do, but how true are they? So far, it's highlighted that supposedly there are bad events which led up to Sebastian's disappearance. If that truly was the case, if those events, who did it entail with? Who did it tie in with? This psychic was bringing up the name of a stepfather, Sebastian Rogers. Are we saying that's one of the individuals or the person tied up within a series of bad events with Sebastian? Let's just continue playing. Has it gone quiet? Yeah, it's still on.
He's asking for like fish or something. Fish? I get to have fish? If I'm good, can I have fish Friday night? Something about pizza and fish. It sounds odd to me,
Definitely
honestly.
does.
Like, and it may sound like odd to you, but this is something he might like. He might like, to eat pizza and fish.
Well, if you're establishing some connection with Sebastian and you can actually hear him now, but you're saying he might like, not that he does like, it shows a lack of confidence there. You can give... Oh. Bloody sneezing. This is almost like a live stream, isn't it? You got the intermittence, you got the interruptions by me blabbering on over these videos and sneezing in the background. It's a little bit chaotic. This is literally a 1-to-1 scale of most live streams out there within the true crime community, though it's not done on purpose. Apologies about that. It's just there's distractions. But to be talking about food on the night or the night before, leading to his disappearance. I said I'm doing my own almost like psychic reading of this psychic, trying to establish the connections. I fully understand that there could be some people in the community in the case that could roll their eyes back to this. Fair enough. But, I'm not pushing this. I'm just listening in. That's it. I mean, it's like what other people have done out there, right?
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be too many problems.
I don't know if these are fish sticks or... He likes to snack. He does. He's lightweight, but I know a lot of...
Wait, so you go from saying, I think he likes fish. I think he likes pizza. Oh, he does like. How do you go from one thing to another?
Skinny people who will eat you out of your whole entire house.
15 years of age.
And you see them a couple of days later and it's...
Not fully grown, not becoming an adult yet. Body's still developing. Size, height, build, muscle, bits and bobs like that along the way. A person can be lightweight at a younger age. Not always, but can be. I mean, say they're going to be like that in the future.
Like, where did it go? Sit down right now, look at me and explain where all that damn food went, because like if it were me, I would have like 5 or 6 pounds on me. Like, where did your food go, right? He's one of those people. He holds thin.
Does it matter though about these characteristics of Sebastian? What about the actual answers?
Wait.
Just speed ahead a bit.
For young,
we're still talking about appetite.
He would tell you no. And he's explaining that he told his parents, his mom and stepfather, no, I don't like it. And allegedly he was forced to eat foods that he did not like.
I mean, one of those things, whether you're autistic or not, you might have certain taste with food and you might not like certain stuff, but if your parents or whoever's looking after you or whatever the age you are, if someone's cooking for you, giving up their time and their effort to make something for you, the least you can do is say thank you and try and eat it. If you are a bit of a picky eater, but it doesn't lead to any negative side effects, there's no allergies, there's no trouble there, and then say, come on, eat your food, because if you don't, you'll starve and you won't be good, it could be a bit unhealthy. I mean, just eat it, right? And that can apply to anyone, any human, to an extent being forced to eat food. But it depends how much force is used, right? I mean, this discussion, what we're having right now, is a bit random, right? But it's to do with the topic of this video. Being forced fed could be seen as unnatural and not a good thing, but it depends what the food is. If it's healthy food and you're kind of being force fed, but not in a nasty way, but kind of like out of care and concern. If someone's not willing to eat, if they're on a hunger strike or they're being awkward with food, and the parents or someone looking after the individual is concerned about, well, if they're not eating, well, they're going to have health issues, they might starve, there could be some negative consequences because of that. So what can you do? Weird discussions, but is this what's setting the scene right now? That Sebastian being given food, not wanting to eat it, being forced to eat it, conflict and tension within, one thing leading to another, maybe being stubborn, being awkward, being picky and choosy, and just because of the way he is. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just trying to establish a scenario with what's being talked about here. Still, how does food lead to a person disappearing? Unless this is one of the factors and components of one of the events, some kind of chain link.
Your vegetables, Sebastian. Eat them all up, and then you will get a treat.
What? What's going on here? It's gone quiet.
If you don't cooperate, I'm going to send you out there with the dogs. You want to sleep with the dogs tonight?
What?
Do you want to sleep out there with the dogs tonight?
You let the dogs out? What? Right, so I think this person, this psychic reader, is channeling being in the shoes of what? One of the parents or whoever, the mother or someone else, the stepfather. He was almost like talking directly to Sebastian at the time, and his psychic is tapping into that moment and like speaking as if they were one of the parents. Is that where we're going here? And that supposedly if Sebastian doesn't eat, there are punishments, being forced to sleep outside. I mean, somewhere in the world and over time, things like that can happen, of course, but does it really happen in Sebastian Rogers' case? Well, realistically, there is no proof to suggest that, but his psychic is supposedly getting information about that was the case.
Because that's where you're headed if you don't listen.
Is this all to do with Friday? Was it Friday?
Yeah, he's
25th
explaining.
of Feb.
Wow. Things that were said to him from, his mom and stepdad.
Mother and stepdad. And Seth being the actual father who doesn't live there with Sebastian. Is that the case? I don't know the whole family situation and structure because I'm new to this case. So if you want to add in or fill in the grey areas, feel free to do so, right? But I just saw a comment yesterday how people were saying that, well, I think it was a comment on my channel saying how the mother was not at home with Sebastian but elsewhere, what, camping or something? So what, are we saying Sebastian was in the house by himself on the night he went missing? I don't know. If anyone can fill in that area there, that'd be appreciated. Because how it's been worded here by this psychic is that there are, role models, guardians, parents, stepfather in the presence of Sebastian at the time. Is this on the same day or the night he went missing, though? I'm not too sure. No dates have been given yet.
They felt that, he could do a lot better, even though they were aware of his disability, his special needs.
Everyone's different.
They knew this about him, but they wanted more from him. They wanted Sebastian to show more of what he could do. And it's like they knew, but they blocked it out. They were, which is a good thing as far as wanting to treat him like a normal kid or a normal teenager. That part I agree with. Regardless of your disability, I'm going to treat you normal.
Treat one normal, whether disabled or not. I do remember there was a comment on my channel where a person got triggered because of certain wording or language I was using, but at the end of the day I responded back to them saying, so what? You want to give disabled people special treatment? Almost treated them like they're not normal and not a part of everyone else? Alienating them? This thing, sometimes in life when you get sensitive do-gooders that want to, hop about and be careful not to offend or trigger someone who may have issues or may have disabilities, when you start giving them extra special treatment, they may take it as an insult themselves. Why can't you treat me like a normal person? So include them in discussions, talks, conversations, jokes, etc. Right? But not everyone does that. So when you think you're doing good, or when you think you're being extra sensitive and it does good, sometimes it can actually backfire, but that's another subject.
However, they went too far with how they treated him. Some things he really did not understand, and some things he got in trouble for. He should not have gotten in trouble for. He is showing me that when he would get in trouble, his hand would get smacked down, and he would shout out, and if he shouted out too loud where a neighbor or anyone could hear, he was told to go to his room and face the wall, stand and face the wall. No eating, no dinner. And yeah, this is what I hear him tell me. So allegedly, I feel like he was mistreated. Maybe not all the time, but sometimes. And there's this energy coming in because he's showing me.
What type of energy?
Oh man, this is interesting.
Dark energy, positive light.
He's showing me sleepy time.
Right, so if I had to summarise what's going on here, based off what's supposedly coming out of this situation and the household, whether it's true or complete BS, how do we summarise this situation? Well, it ties in with one of the conversations from last night where one of the viewers or so on my channel was highlighting how raising people with certain disabilities, it can be difficult, it can be tough for the parents as well. There can be additional stresses and tension. It's hard to deal with, etc., whatever. That can link to here with supposedly this information coming out within the household that Sebastian is hard to deal with or communicate with and maybe awkward, but not his fault then. The parents or stepfather getting frustrated by that behaviour and punishments and consequences being handed out to Sebastian. Not that that's true, but that's from what's being said here via this psychic reading, right? Do I believe it's the truth? I can't say so because we don't have evidence of it. Like, if there was CCTV footage inside or outside, there was some kind of audio on the night or the day before that which detected some kind of dysfunction within the household or some kind of conflict and tension, you could put a certain case or theory across, right? But we don't have that there. With supposed claims that Sebastian being sent to his room if he's too noisy or shouting and screaming, I mean, if that honestly was a regular occurrence and a major problem there, surely over time there would be police reports or there would be concerned neighbours calling in or reaching out to wonder what's all the commotion and noise. Have we ever heard any articles or talks about that publicly? Not from what I'm aware of. Let me know your thoughts, fam. See, I'm not quite sure what the property or the house looks like because I don't want to risk looking at it on Google Maps because I think you get punished for doing it online publicly, as some other people have experienced. But if the house is detached from other houses, even if it's in a neighbourhood, if houses aren't connected to one another, then noise won't travel as easily. If you had a flat or if you had two buildings stuck together side by side or one on top of the other, noise can pass through the walls and you can hear things that do go on if people are a bit noisy in different rooms with different activities, good, bad and dodgy, right? In the Sebastian Rogers case, if I was incorrect in saying that houses were separated and detached, maybe noise wouldn't travel as easily and people wouldn't hear it as much. But it all comes down to, on the basis of if there was a commotion on the night, even though no evidence has been collected, or if there was any commotion the day before or the day before that, regular occurrences or not. If it was something unusual or there was a sign to be concerned for worry, etc., then you would have thought there would have been reports or calls made to someone reaching out of concern. In connection or in contrast to the Dylan Rounds case, Dylan Rounds shot multiple times in the head on the 28th of May 2022, with shots being fired, gunshots, okay? And provided it's near to the grain shed and not within, noise can travel. And with it raining, and maybe there's a breeze in the air, that breeze will help carry the noise over distance, so people in the distance will hear it as well. But no one reported hearing gunshots on the day. No one called the police either. Why would that be the case? Well, with that exception, the norm. What is the norm out there? Lawlessness. Bandit-like behaviour. Illegal activities. That's the norm. Hunting. Hunters. Going out outdoors. Killing wildlife for their own gain or maybe trophies. It's the norm out there. So when you hear gunshots, you're going to think, oh, it's probably someone hunting, someone out there messing about, activities, whatever. Nothing strange to see here. But if you had a densely populated urban area of a low crime rate, and then suddenly you hear gunshots, you're more likely to be concerned and be worried and think, this is not the norm, so something is wrong. Something bad is happening here. If you try to translate that to the Sebastian Rogers case, I've not heard any calls, reports or claims made about any long-standing history of issues or conflict or noise being made or punishments being given out and neighbours hearing it. So there's no norm there. And as for the one-off occasion where it could trigger or spark concern, worry from neighbours nearby, no mention of that either. I'm trying to give for and against arguments with the usage of common sense as well when listening into this footage here. I hope what I'm talking about is relevant enough to the case and people understand what I'm getting at. You can always give your feedback down below in the comment section when it comes to these type of videos and experiments, whether they work or not, whether it's a good idea or not. Let me know, because the only way I will know is if people respond back and communicate. Let's move on.
What am I seeing? I don't want to... I see like sleepy time. I don't know if this is kids Benadryl or
What?
some type of kids nighttime.
I don't know clue what this is about.
Man, have him sleeping all day. When he did come home from school, somebody was aggravated. They became distant from Sebastian, annoyed, upset, angry, frustrated, taking out their personal issues and problems on this child, when really all he needed was love and care.
So basically what's being suggested here, when it comes to certain situations in life, parents, older individuals might be dealing with their own problems in life, and they take that frustration or anger out on somebody else or something else when they aren't the problem or the causation of the original person's problems. Now, using a form of anger, channel through frustration, and taking it out on somebody else who isn't a part of creating that problem for you in the first place would be a form of displacement. That's a psychological term. So a person being angry for whatever reason, the origins may be unknown or just not relevant to what the person's then going to do next. An individual angry then decides to walk over to a dog or cat and repeatedly kick it in the head. That is a form of displacement. Though sublimation would be where a person who could be angry or frustrated by something going on in life, another person, a life event, whatever, obstacles along the way, and they use that energy, that negative energy, they expel it through meaningful activities. An angry person unleashes their energy and power lifting weights or punching a punching bag, right? They're removing that negative energy from within and they're channeling it through a controlled source, a controlled activity in which they can benefit from. If you transfer all your aggression into a meaningful activity such as exercise, you're actually getting more positive from that. You could lose weight. The more energy you put in, the more you get out, right? But with the Sebastian Rogers case, as it's been portrayed here, a family member or two, frustrated, angry, coming back to Sebastian, taking it out on him when he doesn't deserve it, if that's the case. Would there be a trigger at any point, any catalyst? They're saying that Sebastian could be awkward or hard to deal with, and that being a trigger factor, even though, that shouldn't be that way. If a person is frustrated or angry, and then is surrounded by another person that could be a bit annoying at times, not that it's done with intent, it'll only intensify the situation, and then that original person takes it out on the other as a form of displacement. Does that make sense?
That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was right at that prime where he wanted to go ride bikes and maybe, do a sleepover with a friend and, kind of start liking girls. That's innocent. What can you do? A little crush and
Right,
playing.
me, like, a bit weird.
And I feel that he talked a lot, and I can hear, now I hear someone screaming like, would you shut up already? Shut up already. You've said it like 1,000,000 times. I'll put you in, you want to sleep in the garage, or do you want...
The problem is with these type of psychics, they don't actually give the dates. Well, not in this case. And they're not quoting who's saying what besides supposedly Sebastian. They're not saying that, oh, I can hear the mother saying this to Sebastian right now. Oh, I can hear the stepfather doing this right now. None of that. This person's like channeling and moving in and out of one person to another, speaking in third person and talking as normal. It's a little bit all over the place, a bit disorganized.
Sleep with the dogs. You take your pick. I'm busy. Like someone was really, allegedly, I have no facts, but this is what's coming in. Someone was...
Wait, hold on.
Take your pick. I'm busy. Like someone was really, allegedly, I have no facts, but...
You have no facts? Well, that's not a good start, is it, in a conversation? No confidence.
This is what's coming in. Someone was really going at him, verbally abusing him, in my opinion.
Someone, in your opinion,
he was being told, when you go with your dad, don't tell him anything.
So the dad being Seth. So what? We're saying that Sebastian is surrounded by bad influences and also forced to keep quiet. Seth is on the outside of it all, not knowing what's going on. I said, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just trying to relay and make sense of what's being suggested here. I mean, examples like this, what's being mentioned here, can happen in real life, where a vulnerable person could be trapped around bad influences, and other connections, family members or friends, are on the outside of it, not in the loop, not aware of what's going on.
Otherwise, you will get in a lot of trouble. Do not tell your dad anything that happens under this roof. Do you understand? And like, if he doesn't say he understands, he's that's it. He's gonna get his hand smacked. Because most of the time he'll look and nod his head and he'll say yeah, but they're like, yes sir, yes ma'am, and then if he says that, it's good. If he doesn't say yes sir, like if he says yes, okay, I won't, that's not good enough. You must address yes sir, yes ma'am. The home was very organized, I see. Everything was in order. I will say I feel like they had a very clean home. Again, there's something about being organized within the household. And they wanted him to be organized as well. And somebody felt he just didn't fit in. I mean, I really feel like they went off on him.
Overwhelming. Then it leads to consequences.
Someone's temper got the best of them, and they hauled off on him, and I feel like...
Right, so what's tying in here, if I had to summarise it, based off what people have been saying in the chat, right? This is not me. This is what other people are suggesting and maybe some are claiming. That the stepfather is in on it. That the mother is in on it. And with what this psychic reader is suggesting, if you tie it in all together, Sebastian in a household, supposedly, may annoy the mother, may annoy the stepfather. They reach a breaking point, the parents, then take it out, or the guardian, take it out on Sebastian, and it's fatal, and now they've got to cover their tracks and hide Sebastian and dispose of him. If he was last seen at the house, and there's no clues or traces as to where he went from there on then. Now, what I would like to say, and I can't remember the case, the example, and it might not tie in quite the same. Was Bullhorn Bette involved in another case where she was stood outside a house protesting with a megaphone calling out someone as being a murderer, the mother, in another case? Does anyone remember that? I don't know if Maria, person who watches on my channel, Maria, I don't know if you know. Wasn't it to do with Georgia, a state in the US, Georgia, where there was a mother who kind of neglected her child who was in a bath, ended up drowning, and then that mother, instead of reporting to the police or paramedics, whoever you would call at the time, she ended up decided on disposing of her child's body and taking it to a dump or a landfill in Georgia. What was that case? Who was the person called? George? No, not George. Honestly, I can't remember the person's name. But in that situation, the mother wasn't directly responsible for killing her child, but due to that neglect, it led to the child drowning. And instead of owning up or reaching out to the authorities, she then took it upon herself to dispose of the body, which is almost like a form of desecration, right? And that could be a charge there. You call it manslaughter. I don't know what the charge would be when someone dies in guardianship of you. You're the carer. You've got the responsibility, and your recklessness leads to someone dying in your care, and you cover it up. That's where the charges come on in, and it becomes suspicious. Honestly, I don't know the name of that case. If anyone does remember, let me know. Does that translate to what's being mentioned here? I would say to an extent maybe, but in this case, what's being suggested is if Sebastian did pass away, those responsible did it with a bit of intent, and it wasn't down to neglect, it was down to retaliation, consequences gone too far. Not saying that is the truth, not saying that are the facts, but I'm summarising what's being suggested here. And you might wonder, why do I keep repeating myself? Because I need to defend myself. There are many humans out there that misunderstand me and don't understand the English language, or at least the Warlight Raff dictionary when it comes to wording. Got to be very specific. And when dealing with an unknown presence and an unknown, unstable community, we need consistency. We need repetition to make points bold and where the situation currently is at. Let's continue.
Attacked him, okay? Allegedly. They took all their frustrations and anger out on Sebastian, and this may have cost him his life, which caused his disappearance, and now is causing it to be hidden. Okay? They may want to go back and do those, lie detector tests again, and I hope they're asking the right questions. I would give it another go round because there's a lot of dishonesty here. Okay?
A lot of dishonesty, but do you have the facts to prove dishonesty?
Yeah, I see he gets in trouble if his closet isn't in order. Something about order in the home.
Routine,
order in the
basically.
home, right? That's what I get here. Very interesting.
Was one of the symptoms or possibilities that sometimes
They
autistic
were
people
scared for
find it
him to
hard
live with his dad
for a routine or trying to establish
like
one?
his
And if there
biological
isn't one,
dad,
it's
because
difficult,
they
overwhelming.
feared that he could slip up and reveal
What's going on here?
to live with his dad permanently, like his biological.
Let's rewind it back.
They were scared for him to live with his dad permanently, like his biological dad, because they feared that he could slip up and reveal some, things that they say are that they were doing or how they were treating him under.
Right, so this person's suggesting that Seth, the biological father, just sitting back, not saying anything, not revealing anything, not even trying to protect his son who could be in ownership of bad people, just sitting back. Wouldn't you say there's a contradiction here with this psychic reader? Because wasn't it mentioned earlier on where they're suggesting that Sebastian has been punished for this or that, for not following orders or for not eating properly or doing the right things or making too much noise, slapped on the hand, ordered to go to his room or sleep outside with the dogs or in the garage, and as well telling Sebastian not to say anything to the father, Seth, of how he's been treated, keeping quiet about that. But now he's suddenly saying that, Seth could know about things. We're kind of going a bit one way then the other. A little bit back and forth.
Their roof to Seth is what I feel. So they feared that. They're like, no, because I feel like that came up. He can just go stay with his dad forever, But it was like, no, he's going to say something. And if Seth finds out, then all hell may break loose, okay? Yeah, see, yeah, it was an accident. Here it is. It's being revealed. Something definitely happened to him. It started on the way home from being out and about. Yeah, he started whining. He had to use the bathroom really, really bad. He ended up allegedly, yeah, I see it. It's showing me now. This is interesting. He ended up using the restroom on himself. I feel like they had a good night out, but he used the restroom on himself. Somebody got really angry. Looks like the mom allegedly called stepdad and asked what to do because he did it again. Maybe he used the bathroom on himself again, and I'm sick and tired of it. And so it yeah, she became very frustrated, I feel, and it escalated. Started in the car. He uses the bathroom on himself, and he gets home. And
so when they say use the bathroom on himself, you mean the person wet the pants, or more than that? They weren't able to make it to the toilet in time, basically. And then that frustrated the mother, supposedly. Then one thing led to another.
She's, man, pissed off. She was right about that damn thud. Oh, she was right about the thud. You better believe it. I feel like she was involved in that loud thud sound. She may have even caused it. She's not telling the whole story. I don't care who
What thud?
wants to step up to the motherfucking plate.
Whoa, easy.
This is all allegedly, no facts, but I dare you. You don't come to me telling me that she's innocent because she passed the test. I'm telling you, my gift is real. Something happened in that home. It started in the car. It escalated. And it is pissing me off. And hey, I'm being honest. You know what's crazy?
Right, so I'm assuming that this psychic is speaking on behalf of what they feel and think right now.
It's not even surrounding Chris. It looks like it's surrounding Katie. But I feel like...
So what, Katie is the mother, Chris is a stepfather, and Seth is the biological father. Is that the correct order?
Bad decision. This is in my opinion. He made a bad decision, allegedly, to help her hide this accident. She went off the day.
So what this psychic is suggesting is that Sebastian had toilet trouble. That triggered the mother, who I guess is called Katie, lost control, supposedly took it out on Sebastian, and then the stepfather came back and helped her in disposing of Sebastian, hence why there's no clues. So you're saying a professional job was done, a professional clean-up job. If that really was the case, is that why it's explained as to why there's no traces and there's no indication as to where Sebastian is? Buried where? Taken where? I mean, let's just establish one thing at least. If for whatever reason it resorted to death, the death of Sebastian Rogers by the hands of someone else, foul play, even though there's not been any evidence and officially foul play has not been connected to Sebastian Rogers, though they did say it hasn't been ruled out. So it's still up for debate there. But on the basis that foul play was involved and Sebastian Rogers was murdered, for whatever reason, done with intent or not, or accidental, most of the time there's a high chance that the body will be disposed of and likely buried or concealed because that person who's responsible, they don't want it to trace back to them. That's what tends to happen. When you look at the Dylan Rounds case, what Brenner did to Dylan, that was done with a form of intent. Not planned, but done with intent at the time. Shooting Dylan multiple times, yeah, that's not an accident. Then disposing of Dylan so it doesn't trace back to you. Because if it's out in plain sight, a body, the questions, the suspicion is going to come straight to your door knocking since you were the last person to see Dylan and you're directly next to his body. Yeah, so Brenner disposed of Dylan. A lazy person, a lazy job done. But even an older individual who was overweight, had health issues, was still able to dispose of a person that they killed. If you're dealing with the parents here in the Sebastian Rogers case, as the agenda is being suggested, that the mother, the stepfather are in on the disappearance of Sebastian and could be buried and disposed of. Well, if a lazy, overweight person can dispose of Dylan rounds, I'm sure a younger set of people would have no trouble then in disposing of a younger individual who's lighter in weight. That's not being negative, right? You're moving a person who's passed away. You're dealing with dead body weight, which is harder to move than a person who's alive. If they're already heavy, they're going to be even heavier when they've passed. With Sebastian Rogers, the height and the weight, somewhat lightweight, would have been manageable. 2 people in on it, supposedly, would be possible to dispose of someone. As said, this sounds really negative how it's been worded. It's not said with confidence, though. I'm talking in general and based off what I know from other cases of how things have gone. Just putting it into perspective on the basis that something did happen, not that it did. Finish off this.
Wall. He may have talked back a little bit. Yeah, he's at that age. Something he said she did not like. She hauled off and hit him one, and one thing led to another, and he may have tried to grab, because I see this. I see restraining, so he may have tried to kind of block his face and grab her arms, and she may have went in. She most definitely called her husband. I mean, she was scared. Why not?
She definitely called her husband. Well, is there any call logs? Any text messages? Any phone pings? They're saying that no evidence has been found. So what happened to any calls? Missed calls? Calls made on the night? The day after? Reaching out to someone? If it's being portrayed how it is here, that the mother is with Sebastian, the stepfather is elsewhere. Something happens to Sebastian and the mother's responsible. That's how the story is being portrayed. Let's just make that clear. Then reaching out to the stepfather, Chris, for answers or for assistance from the foul play. Have any calls, any conversations been tracked, or were they all deleted? If the police checked out the phones and the equipment, devices.
And they didn't call the police. They had to figure out what the hell they were going to do. Okay?
Well, yeah, if you're
They need to
responsible
get
for the
back
death
to
of
the
someone,
home,
you have to call
inside the
police
home, and
immediately.
make sure there's no secret places, no places that have been patched up in the home. Okay? Nothing
That's being patched up. What, you're saying that? What? I don't think they would bury the own person in their own house.
that's been patched up. Something big about that garage. I stand by that. Something happened between his room, the hallway, and the garage. Okay? And I would like to know about the... It's too late. Looks like she washed those clothes. See? All this should have been caught in the beginning. Something about his clothes, because he used the bathroom on himself. It was an accident. She washed his clothes. There's something about the laundry room that's significant. Evidence in the laundry room. I don't know. Something about the washer. Yeah. The clothes, after he made a mess, she washed his clothes. So, yeah. Oh, God. Unbelievable. That would have been some kind of small evidence, I guess. I do smell bleach. So bleach was used for whatever reason.
How can you smell bleach?
I smell that. There is cleaning that did happen. There was something that was hidden. Something happened, okay? I see it and I feel it.
Something happened, yeah. Something
I hate when
definitely
people,
did happen in
and she
order for him
passed
to
the
go
test.
missing.
She's innocent. Yeah, I'm not accusing her of being guilty. However, I do feel that she does know more than what she has put on, okay?
The only reason why a person who may appear innocent, who may know more, who would keep quiet, the only reason why a person like that would keep quiet is because either if they were to say something, they could get in trouble, either by the hands of the authority or someone else responsible, in which this person is the witness of it, and they're forced to keep quiet.
So does her husband. And I know for a fact, I know that something for a fact right here. I know for a fact that they are on, I just heard a thud in my own background.
Wait, hold on. That is weird. I'm not even joking, okay? I'm not even joking right now. This psychic reader just said, I've just heard a thud in my own background, so I guess in their own room or somewhere. I literally just heard thuds then. Let me just rewind this back because it's a bit creepy.
did happen. There was something that was hidden. Something happened, okay? I see it and I feel it. I hate when people, oh, and she passed the test, she's innocent. Yeah, I'm not accusing her of being guilty. However, I do feel that she does know more than what she has put on, okay? And so does her husband. And I know for a fact, I know that something for a fact right here. I know for a fact that they are on, I just heard a thud in my own.
Right, so I heard a little thud there, but that was on the phone. That was like in the audio of the video. I heard an actual bum, bum, bum thud sound, either in this room where I am right now or through the walls. What weird coincidental timing that is. Weird.
Background. I heard, look, I can't even talk. I heard, it's so funny. I feel that I know for a fact that they are online. They are watching. They are listening. They're heavy on Facebook. They could go undercover.
Right. This suggestion mentioned now by this psychic reader, that the mother, the stepfather, I'm guessing how it's been portrayed here, are listening in and looking at information online, the conversations and discussions from Facebook to maybe YouTube, maybe TikTok, etc. I mean, the father, Seth, has appeared on interviews on YouTube, on panels and stuff, sharing his insight, his updates and thoughts and feelings, etc. And it's been a bit explosive at times. There's been some kind of conflict and people having it out with him and back and forth, whatever's going on there. But to suggest in a suspicious way that you got people monitoring, lurking in the darkness, listening in to what people have got to say about the case, outsiders, and what, if anyone got too close to the truth, those on the inside will try and silence them. Is that an example with Michelle? Is that an example with Michelle After Dark, a true crime channel who was doing a map analysis or on Google Earth, looking in at the location, the last known spot of Sebastian Rogers, which just happened to be the house, the home he was living in, where the mother was as well, supposedly. Michelle After Dark said she got punished either by YouTube or by a report about doing that video of the location and showing it on screen, that possible privacy complaints received and the video being taken down or at least demonetized. I'm not quite sure how severe it was. Part of me thinking it's more down to demonetization. Correct me if I'm wrong. And what, there was some comments talking on behalf of Michelle saying, you know what, you're getting too close to the truth. The ones on the inside that know what's gone on, they're listening in and they're watching. Does that translate and correlate to what this psychic is suggesting here as well? I wonder.
This is what's happening. They're definitely keeping tabs. Any information they can find out about Sebastian and how close people are getting. This is what I have. Thank you for listening. These have been psychic downloads from Sebastian Wayne Rogers. Whew.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. I don't know what people think of that, or this video in general, and my insight and feedback. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you'd like to see more like this with the introduction of videos and reacting to them in a formal, appropriate way, let me know your thoughts. I'd like to know. Appreciate people's patience. Hopefully it wasn't too long this. There is additional footage by other people. I don't know who this person is. We're shouting quite a bit. Is that Bullhorn Bette? I don't know. If we just played it quickly, because like if we're talking about on behalf of if there's any copyright problems or issues there, if people reached out or there was a force done, it's better just to get out of the way in one video rather than separate videos, right? Because if one claim comes in and the content's taken down, the other claim will be invalid by then because the video's already been taken down, I guess, provided it's not been filed already. So, just go on here.
We're gonna go live right now, because Bullhorn Betty's pissed!
Right, so that pretty much confirms it's Bullhorn Bette. Right. I saw a comment by someone on my channel recently saying that Bullhorn Bette protest outside people's houses who could be responsible for the death of people and then uses the megaphone to name and shame them. I don't know how true that is, but I did see a bit of footage to do with the Georgia case of that mother who neglected her son, who drowned in a bath and then disposed of later. I saw some live stream about it in the past. I've heard Bullhorn Bette's name get brought up within the Dylan Rounds case community, not because of Dylan Rounds, but because of people from that community watching Bullhorn Bette and something to do with Jim Terry as well. That's all I know, right? There's a lot of humans out there which aren't relevant to me or nor of my knowledge because I've never crossed paths with them and I don't think I ever will do, right? But it just happens that in this case, certain people engaging within the case or the community, these names are popping up. So this person's annoyed, but why?
Bullhorn Bette's pissed.
Okay, I've said that multiple times now.
Good morning. And I don't understand how somebody that used to be genuinely concerned about cases and genuinely concerned about, finding the bad guy above everything else, has now switched gears. It doesn't even speak the Proudfoot's name. Only anything that insults Seth, his team, or the work that they're doing.
Right. This must be to do with recent conflict where it became a circus show in which Seth doing what he can and searching for his son, but then people in the community criticising him or something. I saw one interview, a live show, but I wasn't watching it live. I was just catching up on it because someone talked about it being chaotic, and it showed Seth in a parking lot. I don't know if that's how you say it in America, but outside the shops in a parking bay near to a vehicle, someone else was holding the phone for him, and it was Seth responding to some other guy. Don't know if the other guy, it was a male, don't know if they were a private investigator or just someone in the community, general public who was covering the case, but it was major conflict, major tension, bit of shouting. Seth was very angry and frustrated for whatever reason. I don't know the full context. I think that's what is being suggested here, partially by Bullhorn Bette.
He's doing it out of pure venom. I'm going to say it just like this, just like I said on my TikTok. Just when I didn't think he was full of shit enough, he gets backed up and has to go have a doctor surgically remove all the bullshit out of him. And he's still filled with a shitload of bullshit.
What?
Tell the doctor to suck a little harder because it's not all out yet.
Hold on there. Calm down.
Moved all the shit out of your life.
You know, when a person is angry, frustrated, or passionate, but then they transition into laughing at times, maybe because the situation is so ridiculous, you can't help but laugh. You need a form of consistency, right? When we're talking about BS, that happened a lot in the Dylan Rounds case. And I made sure very clear to clear things up along the way, and especially in recent time, when retrospectively looking back at the disease-ridden humans, whether they get in your way when you're covering a case or when they get in the way of the key people on the inside of a case, there can be a problem. And it can be frustrating. It can be annoying. It could be disrespectful. It could be done with poor taste. But you got to be consistent yourself in highlighting the BS and not changing character when going through it all. You got to remain consistent. Do not yield. Do not change. Do not alter. Remain credible, remain consistent, remain balanced, remain the only pillar in the community that is still standing and upheld by whatever keywords you want to use.
Literally. And you still ain't got a clue. So I gotta think that the doctor did not surgically remove all. I am just, speaking the obvious over here. Right?
Oh, no.
You want to drag an innocent family? Fine. I'll drag your shit. All your bullshit. Kind of like what you're in the hospital for right now. have to go to the hospital and have it surgically removed.
Why do we keep talking about hospitals and doctors? Is this like Dr. Raff or something?
We're all talking about somebody else's, nonsense that has nothing to do with these cases, just to hurt a whole entire... It says his army is bigger and badder than Sebastian's army. How utterly disgusting. And he's doing it just...
So talking about something to do with division in the community, division in the case, different communities at war with one another.
To get attention because he's been down for days and he needs the attention for the clicks and the views. You guys will learn about it. Go over to the mysterious disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. The hate group for Seth. Instead of the people that could be the culprits. It's a hate group for the person we know is innocent.
Right. So I don't know if Bullhorn Bette is suggesting that with Seth supposedly being innocent and completely out of the loop of what's happened to Sebastian originally, but the actual culprits, who are they? Is this indirectly suggesting the mother, the stepfather, being responsible for Sebastian's disappearance? And maybe more. And Seth, being on the outside, doesn't know anything about it. And the people that are attacking those within the case for knowing something when they don't, they're directing at hatred towards Seth. And then Seth is firing back just by defending himself. And that's through the usage of aggression, in which people are getting a reaction out of Seth, and then they can say, well, look at him now. Oh, he looks aggressive. He looks mean. He looks angry. He must be responsible. That's why when you're dealing with problematic humans, you got to respond back accordingly. Yeah, at times it's good to swear. It's good to expel energy. It's fun. It's good. It's easy. But depending on the situation, a serious situation, you got to try and respond back as formal as possible and keep the conversation or argument under control. The moment you start swearing, the moment you start barking or shouting, you've lost control of the conversation, the argument, you're on the losing side, they're getting a reaction out of you. Sometimes don't react at all. Other times react, but not the way they would expect. There's different ways about it. So how it's been highlighted here, there is a community, there is a group out there that have it in for Seth and going at him. Well, this is a complete carbon copy of the Dylan Rouse case, where you had a hate group who was obsessed and started a witch hunt against Candice Cooley, the mother of Dylan Rouse, going at her, dragging up her past history, and then applying it to what's happened to Dylan, and all kinds of insults along the way. It faded out eventually, but there was a bit of an obsession. Now, I did look at Candice Cooley. I did do my analysis, but I backed it up with balance by looking at Justin Rounds as well, and then by looking at all the people in the community as well. Pure balance, multiple perspectives to the point where most humans, good people, could see that. So that's perfect. But with the Sebastian Rogers case, due to the lack of evidence, people are compensating for the lack of evidence by adding in their own stories and ideas. But if poor wording is used, then there can be misunderstandings. And through misunderstandings, there could be tension, conflict, and eventually drama, which appears to be the case here. And I don't know if it's been brought up yet by Bullhorn Bette, but you bring in a group or a range of people that either know one another or not, and if there's already outstanding long-term grudges, put everyone all in the same room, and there's more people, there's more chances of conflict. Less people covering a case online, less drama, less trouble. More people in the same room isn't always a good idea. Sebastian Rogers' case would be considered a popular case compared to others. So a lot of people gather and a lot of trouble comes out of it, okay?
These people. So smart. So freaking smart. Smart. I hope you go over there and light their ass up. All of them. That whole freaking group. Get yourself blocked. You know?
See, people talk about this group or that group, but can we actually have names? I mean, I'm on the outside, which is probably a good thing, but it'd be nice to know the names of the problematic individuals. Even people in the chat right now, like if you've got an idea or if you can give like a hint, that would be interesting just to know. Because, you know, at the end of the day, all the videos that I've done and the cases, I've always tried to make it clear who are the problem, who aren't. Who are the good people? Who are the bad people? Who are the ones you need to look out for? Who are the good people that transitioned and changed in behaviour? being influenced by other creators and other environments and people out there, changing for the worst, turning on me or turning on you. I made sure to document it, make it clear, so you knew that in the future who to trust and who not to. Yet in a situation with the Sebastian Rogers case, as much of a circus show as it might be, it would be good to name and tag people, not literally in terms of mentioning via YouTube mentions, but tagging, like categorizing who's in the clear, who isn't, who's in the light, who's in the dark, who are the problematic people, who are the misunderstood ones, who are the genuine people. Because I did ask a question last night saying, is everyone a problem in the case as for creators? And people responded saying, no, not all. Okay, well that's good to know then, supposedly. But who are the problem then? Who are these groups? Who are these named creators? I'm interested. I wouldn't know because I've not been around long enough. But if any of you know, feel free to leave a comment.
They can only block so many people before they don't have a channel, right? And now that now that we definitely know that every single one of them have lowered themselves to cockroaches that protect criminals, I guess we know where they stand. I guess his army of cockroaches is bigger than the army of loving people trying to find a.
So you're saying that there's an army of haters that just so happen, directly or indirectly, are helping and covering up the real culprits who are responsible for the death, or just simply the disappearance of Sebastian. Let's word it like that, not the death, because that's not been confirmed at all. If that's really the case, those that are doing it, the negative people that are actually causing more harm to the case and covering up the real truth, why are they covering up the truth then? Intentionally or not? Are they blinded? Are they too emotional in the case, so their judgment skills and decision making is lacking and limited, possibly? Mistakes made along the way? Because in the Dylan Rounds case, there was a wide berth of humans, creators and audience members, that when you take their actions and what they said and how they portrayed the case and the confusion and disruption they were causing, you could, from an outside perspective, assume that these people are actually in on the case and know who's responsible, and they don't want Dylan to be found. With all this false information given, saying, oh no, Dylan's here, no, he's over there, no, he's here, no, he's there, this happened, no, that happened to Dylan. Besides the confusion, it's like a form of misdirection. And if you're misdirecting people in a case, it's as if you don't want the case to be solved. And why is that? Because you're in on it, you're involved, you're being paid off, you're some kind of secret informant. It doesn't always go that far or that deep. You know, you can't be blamed, but thinking like that and feeling like that when there's a wave of resistance. That word doesn't get used enough. It's a warlike reference, which is great. Is the Sebastian Rogers case similar? That's how it's been portrayed here by Bette.
Autistic and medically needy 15-year-old boy that we could use his help on and his platform, but nah. This is the help he's going to provide. Fuck him.
Is there a pattern, though, when it comes to young, white American males that it seems to garner the attention of dodgy humans that come into the case and cause trouble? I'm not talking about the person on screen. I'm just talking about the community. When I look back at the Dylan Rounds case, youngish, white male from the US, it brought in a lot of dodgy people, dark forces, forcing agendas, forcing the gay theory, forcing the religious theory for the death of Dylan and the disappearance, etc. And I guess there's other cases as well out there with other people. It definitely seems to apply here with Sebastian Rogers. I'm just noticing patterns. What about Aidan Clune? Any links there? Not with how the person died, not with, or let's not say died, not to do with how the person disappeared themselves. I'm talking about the themes and patterns of the type of victim in which it attracts a certain audience of misfits out there that come on in and harm a case. Is there a correlation? Does anyone know? Because even when it comes to true crime, especially towards the end of a case, you get people that do interviews or want to learn, want to know the mindset behind a killer, the mindset behind the culprit, the one responsible, trying to understand why they did what they did. And was there anything in the past that caused that person to change in a dark way? And then using that knowledge to then apply in the future for when people grow up so that people don't go down the same route or pathway. And if anyone does, if you've got guidelines and knowledge of what to expect next, you can prevent things from happening in the future. Can that be initiated within groups and communities of the true crime, the missing person cases, that not the victim and not a culprit if there is foul play, but the actual general public that come into a case, what to expect, what to know, early warning signs, red flags that what's going to happen next will be troublesome by some humans that are showing resistance. That's quite interesting, that. You couldn't do a case study on it, though.
Guys, go over there and promote whatever case he's working on and just tell him, leave the Sebastian case alone. He's not needed. Like, literally not needed at all. If this is the best he's got for this case, we don't need him. Just saying. I just got here. Did I miss something? Oh, of course. You missed me bitching. Miss me bitching. That's okay. I'll keep on bitching. Skip friends. Okay, here we are. Where is it? But I don't understand why this group is hell-bent on doing that. I think they found my other account, so we'll have to go to my last backup account because I think they got me. But either way, he said, actually, I think I got it on here. I can't show you. I'm back. I don't know if it's going to cut that out or not, but I just can. One much stronger.
Okay. It's not quite clear that, but I guess this is where there's a reference. What's this? Mysterious disappearances. So is that the one Bullhorn Bette is referring to as a problem in the case with their community? But then there's a post there saying the JLR army is much stronger than Tony's so-called Sebastian's army. Oh, no. Right, so this is almost like a reference or part of it to what's happened in recent time with Seth in a live stream on someone's channel on YouTube in which Sorry, when I heard the word Tony, I always think of a Liverpool accent. I don't know why. It's just Tony seems to sound like from a certain place in the UK. Bit random. Just first thing that came to my mind. Tony. Who is Tony? Tony, a YouTube channel, a creator, an investigator, media, private investigator, I don't know. But I do remember seeing them on panel with Seth, and it was an explosive argument, back and forth. It didn't go down well. So I guess that tension still dragging on. But the JLR army. JLR investigates. I believe a bold white man with a bit of a pointy nose. Never caused me any trouble. I believe he allowed me to use some of his footage or photos when it came to the Dylan Rounds case. So that was good of JLR to do that. I appreciate that. That's just a little reference to do with the Dylan Rounds case. Okay? The odd person reached out in recent time highlighting that JLR has a dark past, whatever that is, and something to do with suing so many people out there and suing his mother. I have no clue what's going on, right, with all of that. Completely irrelevant to Sebastian Rogers' case. Let me just make that clear. A lot can be talked about with time. Does it need to be included here? Not really. But yeah, when you talk about this army or this group is better than that group, here we go again. This is evolutionary competitiveness. The want, the need, the demand to be on top, king of the hill, top of the food chain, apex predator. And not predator in the wrong way, not for it to be taken out of context. This is exactly how it was within the Dylan Rounds case. Back then, it was more of island effects, multiple different channels and creators wanting to be on top, wanting to get the latest news and present it first. You had the Shack Lady, you had Salty Pancakes, you had Jim Terry, you had Bob Farrell to a point. Evolutionary competitiveness, wanting to be the first on the scene to report the latest breaking news, whether it's true or false or exaggerated. Even the likes of Doug from No Thanks, who exaggerated on certain news at one point. Even the likes of Lance Kelly, that did as well and got it mixed up and got it wrong. Right? I know all those people, those names involved in the Dylan Rounds case, wanting to report on it first. Here, it's as if one is saying that they're better than the other. But really what should matter at the end of the day, regardless of who's better than the other, is what about Sebastian? And that's a key reference in line with many cases out there. What about the actual missing person? What about the actual victim? It gets lost in all of the commotion and all of the competition and all of the conflict, right? Eventually, with all the noises and voices of people saying, let me talk, they end up making it all about themselves. We know how to eliminate drama. We know the endless cycles. I've discussed it endlessly on my channel. It's that other humans can't adapt. Other humans can't break away. And some might even be trapped, depending on the situation. It's very interesting in its own way. Not that it should be the centre point of the case, because the actual missing person, the victim, is more important, but still. What we have looked at in the past is where we're at right now, and how we can apply it in the future, and what to look out for. People that have engaged and looked into the Sebastian Rogers case from day one, let me know how similar it is to the Dylan Rounds case community. Not the actual case, but the community and how people responded and acted. And resistance. Is it similar or far from it? I want to know.
Than Tony's so-called, it's not Tony Sebastian's army, it's just Sebastian's army. But he puts Tony in front of there to try to distract from what he's saying. And I have got to say, I've never seen this out of this man. I don't know why you guys aren't saying something to him. Why aren't you guys telling him enough is enough with or stop and refocus? And he's causing such grief and disruption to a person that's just trying to find their fucking son.
Right, so I guess how it's been summarised here, supposedly, you got a genuine person on the inside, the father, the actual father, concerned for the son, trying to figure out stuff, trying to work on finding a resolve, and all they're getting along the way is criticism from those further away, not even involved in the case directly. That's how it's being portrayed here. If that's the case, well, that's exactly the carbon copy of the Dylan Rounds case. You've got the likes of Justin Rounds or Candice Cooley searching for their son on and off and when they can. And all the community could do, some of them, was just complain, criticise, and so on. Now, I did my own analysis, as said, but I balanced it out with positives, negatives, strengths, and weaknesses for that balance and consistency. It's never all positive, nor is it never all negative. It's like mixed, okay? I said, parents, family members, friends, during a bad, rough time of someone going missing or much worse, mistakes can be made along the way, and at times heat at the moment in how people report on stuff or respond back. You can expect that from those people because it's a high, intense, emotional situation. But when you get people in the community causing trouble or responding back, what's the point? What's the need? You're not impacted by the case, so why do you need to start trouble? And when I say, why do you, I'm not saying you as in people watching right now, and I'm not saying you as the person on screen. I'm talking in a scenario, right? Because once again, humans do misunderstand me when it comes to language. It's just that I'm on a higher wavelength, bandwidth, 6, 7, 10G Wi-Fi, my brain. Not quite, but how I word and say things may be different to people from the US. Probably there's a disconnect there in language.
I don't understand this. And then every time we turn around, they're kicking me out of this group that's doing all these terrible things to this family, trying to hide it, knowing that we have 1,000 freaking people in that group that send me stuff.
Are you talking about like a Facebook group, a private group where there's a group chat and then people reach out with information, intel, drop-offs of findings, and then let's reach out to the creator who's a part of the community, send it all out, and then the creator then makes a video about it? I know some people said that, why not create a Discord group or a Reddit group to do with the Kenny Veach case? Too risky. When you've got a public group, or even a group which could require some kind of security measure, you can get people who are on the inside or become informants and spies. People are that desperate that they'll go to any length possible. The best way for the distribution of information and humans that want to reach out to a creator such as myself, Warlight Wrath, would be one-on-one not forced, natural. When people want to reach out, not the other way around, on social media, but different places, as it has been in the past. It's so much more controlled. There's no spam. You take out your own pace and you do what you can to learn.
Make sure that I can't get it. Why are they hiding their behavior from me? Why are they hiding? Because they're doing stuff that I would be calling them out for and putting them on a almost 200,000 person pedestal, much like Jonathan's platform.
You see?
And showing them in a different light because people don't like this conduct.
Speed up a bit.
When I saw the post, people, they have to be blocking. Right? Enough is enough with the bullshit. And trust me, this is exactly why I say do not use internet PIs. How many times do I tell you guys that? How many times do I come here and tell you guys that every freaking time they get involved, this is the kind of shit you deal with?
Internet PI, private investigator. Don't reach out to those people online because they're dodgy. I think that's what Bullhorn Bette is referring to. So would that be an indirect reference to Jim Terry in the Dylan Rounds case? Well, that'll be by the hands of the grandparents who reached out to Jim Terry. But it was over the internet, I believe.
Every flippin' time. We did it with Terry. I exposed him. SF.
Oh, what coincidence. She said Terry, Jim Terry. Well, there we go. So that explains why in the past Bullhorn Bette's name was brought up during conflict and drama because of the whole Jim Terry situation and the Dylan Rounds case. Well, that clears that up. We'll just rewind it back just so you hear it yourself.
Exactly why I say do not use internet PIs. How many times do I tell you guys that? How many times do I come here and tell you guys that every freaking time they get involved, this is the kind of shit you deal with. Every flippin' time. We did it with Terry. I exposed him. SF. Now we got Chloe. All this drama. Every single person that is an internet PI is nothing but drama and bullshit.
Do people agree with that in the chat? Every private investigator online is full of rubbish. I mean, I've not come across a credible one yet. But you get two different types of people. If we're talking about an actual private investigator, a proper one, can you get proper, real private investigators online? Or does it tend to be more in a in-person, face-to-face, real-life meeting? Because then on the other side, you get the sleuths, which is a cringy word. Then you get the armchair detectives. There's a range of different keywords, buzzwords, which a lot of people like to use, trendy words. Who does it really apply to then? Do all those words apply to online private investigators? Are online private investigators real private investigators or wannabe investigators? I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of terms.
Nothing but drama and bullshit. And I sat here, I would not be able to get work done if I had to worry about whether people liked me or not. I don't give a shit. I'm not here for people.
See, this is the thing. Bit of an example. With the Dylan Rounds case, Bob Farrell, disruptive human being, not a good role model in different ways. Constantly said about they don't care, but they care enough to respond. They care enough to lurk in the background. They care enough to reply back and start more. If you truly don't care, you would truly disconnect. Literally. I've come across problematic people. I've severed my ties with them. Not that there was a tie to begin with, but, you know, like even in real life, way back in the past, humans, certain ones, dead to me. Right? Once you establish that and consistent, that form of not caring shows consistency is what matters. Not applying it here with the person on screen, but in life, there's a lot of people that can say that they don't care, but they're still talking. if your line of work or a certain activity or a certain responsibility involves going on about this type of stuff, well, there's an exception there, if you get what I'm saying. But it's like when you get people on online social media, don't compare yourself to others. Don't be looking at all those photos and feeling that you're less adequate or of less quality or missing out on stuff that you're lower than others. Don't compare yourself to others online. But then that person themselves either compares themselves to others online or they're part of the problem for posting photos over and over again in a narcissistic way. Just don't do it to begin with. Do it privately. There's no need to plaster it all over the place online unless that's your role, that's your job, that's your responsibility, that's your PR team. Well, then there's exceptions, but it's not with majority.
Because I'm telling you, that is nothing that the Bullhorn Bette channel is or associated with.
Anymore?
I want no part of that shit anymore. Right now, these a-holes are making their personality problems the world's problems. And you can go on every single Facebook group over and over, and everybody is sick of the drama. They're saying that they're sick of the drama, yet they're still peddling this drama that everybody's sick and tired of.
What you call that, what Bullhorn Bette said, is almost like the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting things to change. They won't if people are stuck in the endless cycle of drama. We saw extensively in the Dylan Rounds case a range of people saying that they don't like the drama, they don't like it. Well, why are you still here then? Why are you still engaging in it then? Why do you keep switching sides, pledging allegiances to different people? On, off, hot, cold. Endless cycles. The reason why humans are in endless cycles of drama, even, for example, the Sebastian Rogers case, you got different sectors of people. Those that secretly like the drama, those that have a love-hate relationship with drama. Sometimes it benefits them and other times it doesn't. Give and take, they can't help themselves. The others that are caught up in all of the drama just because other people have dragged their names into the mix. And then may have got to the point where they're trapped and they can't pull away. They can't go away quiet. That happened in the Dylan Rounds case. I don't know about Sebastian Rogers. And then the other people that benefit with the drama are the actual creators. If someone becomes a wounded animal through drama, their name's been dragged through the mud, they've been attacked, verbal assault, whatever it may be, they can play the victim card or they can suffer, genuinely suffer, and receive lots of super chats. I saw it in the Dylan Rounds case. Oh, a person got attacked. Oh, a person's name was dragged through the mud. Oh, a person's worse off now than back then because of all this drama and conflict. And yet they're still here and over again. What are they getting out of it, though, as a channel, as a creator? Super chats. Money. Donations. Gifted things. Out of sympathy. Not out of hard work. Not out of covering a case. Not out of being dedicated. But more so, being a victim. More so out of sympathy. Oh, here's some money. You know, you've had verbal criticism. You've been dragged through the mud. You've been hurt. You've been harmed. You're a beautiful, strong human being. You're so independent. But here's some money because we feel sorry for you. It shouldn't be through feeling sorry. It should be through rewarding a channel for the hard work and time put into a case that matters and is important. But no, that's not how the drama cycle works. Now, take in mind, drama doesn't work for everyone. Conflict doesn't work for everyone. When I've had to defend myself, serious times of drama and conflict where people tried slandering my name, very serious times, I took it very serious. So I was dragged into drama and conflict and I walked out unscathed. I walked out under control, all under control. Did I gain from it though? No. So that's the other misconception. People say that drama sells, drama is successful, and anyone caught up in it will be better off or benefit. No, I didn't. But I still defended myself because of a formal procedure and because I wanted to defend myself. Okay? So if not much good came out of it, what was the point in doing it then? To defend myself, as anyone should be able to do so. If not much good came out of it, did much bad come out of it? No. Because in the end, it was all under control. It was fine. But I'm just a single individual. within an ocean, shark-infested waters, right? If you've got a group of people or a coalition and with a bigger audience, trying to be all on the same page is a lot harder there than it is with a single channel and one person.
Knock it off already. We're over it. Every one of us that's here is over it. If you have a problem with Seth and it's no longer about Seth or Sebastian, then leave. If you're going out there dogging the father while looking for a son, then you are in it for a click and a view, because there is no way Sebastian would ever want your help after doing that to his own father.
Kind of like the equivalent of the Dylan Rounds case and the mother Candice Cooley being called out in intense ways by people really hell-bent on her. Even though most of those people never had a bad encounter with Candice Cooley, but they decided to bring her up. Jim Terry, private investigator, was one of the originals to do that, and then other people followed. Okay? Just as a history lesson there, in case anyone's wondering. But this is the thing. If there's no drama, create the drama to then benefit. That's what some people do. You want to create a headline, even if it's entirely incorrect, but the claim or the reference is shocking enough, it will sell. And then you'll grow from it. But it's a risky game people play, because then that can come under slander, defamation of character, and legal issues. And even just on a less severe basis, if you've got a channel or a website, something you've established, and then you start creating a load of BS, there will be consequences down the line, most of the time.
The one that has the longest and most important connection with his son, Katie didn't have that. Seth had that.
Who?
The one that has the longest and most important connection with his son, Katie didn't have that. Seth had that.
Kenny? Did I say Kenny?
This isn't T-Rev's army. This is Sebastian's army.
First of all, there shouldn't be an army to begin with. When you use the term army, that refers to conflict, a war, a breakdown in communications, heightened tension and senses. And normally about what comes with war comes with repercussions afterwards. At what cost as well. With war comes casualties. With war comes collateral damage. There should not be a war to begin with within a missing person case. The only war that is present and constant is war-like wrath, and far from the trouble. That's the irony in one's name. The actual title, the actual name, full of pure aggression, rage, uncontrollable force. 10,000 years worth of rage and ongoing wrath of destruction, yet soft and as gentle as a pillow, as light and pure as a white feather drifting in the breeze. Major contrast, isn't there? That's just being descriptive in case no one understands. But yeah, when it comes to an army, there's problems. There are exceptions though in life, in real life, where you can get an army, people backing, supporting someone, all together on the same page. That could be considered an army consensus. That's not the case here, though.
And I'm sick and tired of people stepping on that boy's name as a way to say, oh, it's because I want to pick on Tony. No, every time you do that, you are disparaging that 15-year-old boy, and I've had about enough of it.
So basically making a mockery of a serious situation. That's what Bette is getting at there.
And I hope that you guys here on social media stop dealing with it. You guys have mouths, use them.
Not to be taken out of context, though, using your mouth to get to somewhere.
Enough's enough. Enough is enough.
See, the key thing is, You need at least one human allocated in every single case out there, such as the online presence and communities. You need at least one human stationed at each case who isn't emotionally charged nor emotionally connected to the victim, to the family, to the case, or to anyone online. You need someone completely balanced with multiple perspectives, someone who's the complete opposite of being egocentric and impetuous. That's very hard to come by.
His son. You do not get to make those decisions. And Lee, for a matter of fact, I talk to you. I deal with personalities and behaviors.
Who's
and
Lee?
I would like somebody to tell you, Mr. Lee Bird, what the fuck to do. Tell me I'm lying. I've already called you, right? I've already spoke to you. I guarantee you this shit was knocking at your front door. You tell them all to get bent.
Right, what's this?
I'm just over it. I really am. Well, you know, Lee, when you're in this shoes and we do this to you, I don't want to hear you crying. Because what you are doing is wrong. You can have your opinion, but you've made your opinion known. When is it going to be enough? Or are you just going to keep driving it and 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 driving it?
What is the pattern with all the pounding, the fisting, and the clapping and slapping? There's been a lot of different noises today, and they weren't produced by me either. Very interesting. But sometimes when you're driving an opinion or a thought, provided it's not causing any trouble, you may come across as a broken record. I've been accused of that as well. But sometimes it's important to be repetitive. Repetition is the key to mastery. Repetition is the form of making a point, highlighting it. The consistency equals credibility. Consistency, more trust within it or within someone. Repetition can make a point, a moment bold and stand out and be remembered for as long as possible. Because as we know, there's a lot of humans out there that have a goldfish mentality. Though, if repetition is used in the wrong way, yeah, there are issues.
Understand you don't like Tony. Okay. That's your problem. You understand that, right? So why are you making it everybody else's? I really want to know. I'm here asking the group. When is enough going to be enough? Particular case or aspect of the case, what is spending weeks clubbing this man over the head really doing other than clicks and views?
See, to an extent that makes sense. At the end of the day, if you're online, you're creating videos about a case, there needs to be a purpose to begin with, and maybe made clear so other humans know. Covering the Dylan Rounds case, I myself made it very clear that I wanted to be the last man standing, the last person standing, or at least that's how I envisioned it in my mind, and I demonstrated it through my actions. And the whole point and purpose of that was to keep the case alive, balanced, and learn as one went along, and the audience that followed from a previous case so they could learn about a new case, a new mystery, right? Didn't say that I was going to solve it directly, didn't say I was going to find the missing person, I was just going to cover it, at least, so you knew what to expect. Not high expectations, not over-promising, but over-delivering. It was a good balance. People in the Sebastian Rogers case may not make themselves very clear as for their true motives. And that can come off as misdirection and misunderstandings, and then that's further conflict and tension. If a person is present in the Sebastian Rogers case to either find Sebastian, providing they're allowed to, and it doesn't lead to any conflict or any legal implications, then okay. If a person is there just to simply document the latest updates, the official updates, well, that's fine. If a person's all about map analysis, mapping it out, providing they're able to do so, and there's no issues there, to try and figure out what could have happened, not what did happen, but could. Well, that's very clear. If a person just simply wants to keep the case alive for the right reasons, just like how some of the official news reporters on Facebook said it's a good thing to do so, there's no issue. Some people can cross over and do multiple things under those circumstances, but if people aren't making it clear, there'll be misunderstandings. Are we on pause?
Sparrow, you can have your understand a spokesperson is in front of the camera speaking, right? Kind of like Dingman.
Hey?
right? You understand Dingman went before the cameras, unqualified, by the way. Unless you're a professional. And what qualifications do you have to make that assessment?
See, this is the thing. What I've seen within different cases out there, true crime or mysteries or missing person cases, more so true crime. There's a lot of people that come on in who claim to be experts, who could well be experts or at least experts in other fields, have lots of qualifications, been to university, blah, 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 but yet they lack common sense. You know, these different cases can attract a wide range of different people that could be interesting. Who knows, they could have an interesting background, they could be very knowledgeable. But even the most intelligent humans out there can have a downfall, can slip up, can mess up. Sometimes you get a simple individual, not to be taken as an insult, but a simple individual who might not be as qualified, who might not have as many qualifications, who might not be as successful, but they do have common sense, and that can go a long way. You could have someone who's just got out of university and has lots of qualifications, degrees and whatnot, and then you can have an individual who doesn't, but they've got more work experience. And sometimes the one with more experience is treated in higher favour and demand. Not always, but it can apply. People come in different shapes and sizes and qualifications too, but I don't mean to say that they're superior, right? I've seen a range of people in the Dylan Rounds case that said, oh, I do this, I do that, I've got this, I've got that. And you think, they're acting far from that. And you imagine, what would they be like in their job in real life? Are they stable or not? Because how they conduct themselves online is far from it. Embarrassing at times. The Dylan Rounds case, you looked at it firsthand without knowing who these people were. You'd think they're all children, a playground, but no, fully grown, developed adults with qualifications. Yeah. They don't act how they should. So maybe that carries over to the Sebastian Rogers case to an extent. Just because you're an expert or you got qualifications don't mean to say you're God's gift. Simple people, general public, average person, whoever, can be just as useful and have a positive impact as well.
A criminal background check, an FBI background check, and get a security license just to be able to volunteer your time seems pretty ridiculous to me. Not sure about my audience. Because the people here are from all walks of life, some that have never even been on a true crime channel. He has captured the world and he has brought them in. Many of us want answers. We don't care about the drama. We don't care about the bullshit. We
don't care. Well, why are we talking about drama and conflict right now? You can care for the right reasons, you can care for the wrong reasons, but I think a lot of people don't admit that they care in a way to begin with. They just say that they don't care, but in a way they do. If they truly didn't care, they wouldn't be talking about it at all. I came across a person called Mr. X, also known as Mr. Impetuous, also known as Mark Terry, the brother of Jim Terry, private investigator. Mark Terry, in the past, was quite positive towards my channel, and then eventually had put a bad taste in their mouth and didn't like me anymore. Oh well. At one point he said, I'm not interested in missing person cases, I don't care about them. So why are you here then? Why do you keep coming back? And other people as well that can't stand me, detest me. Why do you keep coming back then? Even on TikTok, gaming, people coming back criticising over and over again. But why? Why? You don't like it? Why are you still here? There's alternatives, there's other channels, there's other places. Go there then.
Don't care about the history, are stuck in stupid. While dragging my name through the mud in an effort to try to bring pain to another person, to drag Tony's name through the mud to bring pain to another person. And oh, by the way, that other person just happens to be a father of a missing child that just had his girlfriend taken and stolen from him by another content creator that was there to help him. So I guess maybe we see why he's pulling away from content creators and building his own channels. It's not for monetary purposes. I think it's just for He's tired of the bullshit purposes.
Is this to do with Seth going down his own route on YouTube besides relying on creators who then exploit the situation? Is that what it means?
And he probably needs to be having his own voice and talking about his own child in his own way.
Right, okay. This is the thing. The moment a family or a family member reaches out to the general public for help, that's when all the drama begins. You want minimalised drama, don't reach out to the general public to begin with, especially online. Sounds bad, but that's really the only way around it. People will always be talking and critiquing, criticising in the background, but to limit, to reduce it, to avoid it being dealt with firsthand towards you, don't reach out to the general public to begin with. That might sound backwards thinking and less progression made, but if the authorities are involved in the case, the right services, the right equipment, the right resources, that's what should matter. What can the general public do, though, in times like that? Respect the wishes of the case or the family or the authorities, maybe assist and help when wanted or needed, but then do the general public feel like they're being played around like a game? Oh, we want you, no we don't now, playing hot and cold? Do people take that as an insult? Some did in the Dylan Rounds case when public searches were called off because the police were then focusing on it themselves, and some of the general public felt betrayed by the mother of Dylan Rounds because they feel like they've been pushed away now. There's no belonging anymore. But to talk like how Bette said about having your own voice, if you're amongst the voiceless, or you are the voiceless, and you want to express your thoughts, your feelings, the case itself, you feel like no one's listening, you haven't got the right people around you, then times like that, maybe times of desperation, you will reach out to those online. You will put trust into creators, in fact they've got the best interest within you, so that they give you a platform to speak, to share your thoughts, your updates on the case, and then reach out further from there and expand onwards. But then that creator or other creators could then twist it and then take advantage of you. Families, parents, friends, whoever, in a missing person case who could be deemed as vulnerable, emotional times can be emotionally manipulated, controlled over time, taken advantage of. They haven't got a voice, a channel or a creator can give them a platform to voice their thoughts and feelings. Then it can all go wrong from that point on. Did that happen with Candice Cooley? A little bit, but not quite with the actual creator. But the creator was known to have caused trouble in the past in the Dylan Rounds case. No thanks, Doug. I don't know if Candice Cooley was ever aware of that, but fast forward onwards, no more interviews between Candice Cooley and Doug from No Thanks, so maybe something did go on in the background there. But, yeah, when you put your trust into people, especially at times when you're vulnerable, things can go wrong badly. You can get burnt. Some people manage to pull themselves out of the wreckage and mess and become stronger or adapt and go in a different direction, and I think that's what's happening here with the father Seth.
On his own platforms.
A new platform.
Just like many other parents that have dealt with the loss of their child. Just like Ethan's mother wrote a book about her son. Just like Layla Santinello's mother has made it a mission to not only try to find answers for her child, but to find answers for other children as well.
So the equivalent of Candice Cooley, the mother of Dylan Rounds, who set up the Dylan Rounds legacy page to honour Dylan Rounds, to keep his name and memory alive, but in addition to help other families out there going through the same thing or could in the future, and provide resources and help, which the family didn't have access to at the time when their son went missing and eventually found dead.
It's kind of what helps them heal.
So it's turning a negative into a positive in the form of a healing process, but not everyone can do that.
Mechanism, if you will. And he's being clubbed over the head when all these other parents of missing children are not. Let's put yourself in this man's shoes. Have misdemeanors, taking every single piece of baggage from that point all the way back to when you were a young person and plastering it on social media when they know you had nothing to do with the disappearance of your child.
So I think that point's mentioned about raking up the past of someone within the case of Sebastian Rogers. I don't know if that's the father or someone else. Getting in trouble, mugshots, whatever. getting in trouble with the law way back in the past, got nothing to do with the Sebastian Rogers case. But the reason why humans will rake up the past of someone is to use it as ammunition against them. Just like how in the Dylan Brown's case community, the YouTube streets, where you had some females that opened up about their stories of their life in the past, whether when they were very young or as an adult, bad things happening to them, talking about sensitive topics and subjects. And yet those stories were then used against them in the future as a form of insulting them or critiquing them, right? If you're going to open up, depending on what the platform you're on and if it's public, expect for it to be used against you, right? If it's in private, well, you shouldn't expect. You should be able to trust people. But when it comes to a public platform or some kind of radio station, you're going to open up about your stories, your vulnerabilities, expect for it to be used against you by dodgy people out there. It happens, right? People can weaponize it. Weaponize vulnerabilities, weaponize bad events, sensitive stuff as a form of manipulation, as a form of psychological warfare, okay?
And then continue to do it over and over again when you're just begging to refocus and get this back on track. And now you understand what was truly going behind the scenes. This was all going on behind the scenes that nobody knew about. This is why Seth decided to take direction. When are you guys going to realize this? This is why he changed directions. He was trying to avoid all of this. And it didn't help. And they have all these back chats where they're getting all these creators. Hey, if we all work together, we can boost our numbers. Don't you notice that this little group of people all of a sudden just started boosting up numbers? 50, 60,000, 100,000 now? Just this group, this core group of people?
Who is this group of people which Bullhorn Bette are referring to? Independent creators? Or in a special insider group? I don't know. You talk about numbers of 30, 50, 60, 100,000 views on videos. I don't know if I've seen them or not. I don't know. Does anyone know who this insider group is of creators? Anyone can name them?
It's funny how that happened, isn't it? Just boom, boom, boom. 1 minute they're normal, and the next minute, here we go. Right? So I don't see Seth being able to have, and I think the reason why Chris will not let Seth talk to Katie is because Seth probably knows Katie probably better than Chris does, right? And he could probably tell when that girl's lying. He can probably tell a lot just by having a conversation with her. I just found it awfully odd that he said that they need to air out their grievances, yet Katie and Seth having a private conversation will not happen. Seems awfully funny. You know? And I'm going to tell you guys, while it's not my business, nor is it my story to tell, I'm telling you that there are good reasons why this is happening and why this did happen. Okay? And I need you guys to trust that and not get sucked into the drama, because again, Seth's private personal business is not up for public consumption. So bottom line is that there were things going on behind the scenes that you guys do not know about, that has been kept from you, intentionally kept from you by one group and not wanting to be discussed by another group because they want to get it focused back on Sebastian. But this one group knows exactly what happened, knows exactly why we're in here, and knows exactly why they're attacking Seth. Because they fucked up. And they have to do damage control. And the only damage control that they can do is attack the man that can basically say they effed up. And they did. And they won't own it. And they keep going around and being mad at everybody else for calling them out on their shit. All they needed to do was just dust themselves off and just do better. But you can't.
Right, we'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with it? Are you surprised by it? What the hell's going on? You got some other creators there. That person there. Is that a real person? I guess so. Jessica de la Devis. Whoever that person is. These might be names you've heard of before. Maybe, maybe not. Uh-oh. What's this one? Oh, it's that person. J is for justice. J for J is for Justice is the individual that had Kaylee, Tree, an ex-salty pancake supporter from the Dylan Rounds case onto the Sebastian Rogers case, the one that giggled, the one that went, if you remember. That's just a characteristic of the individual. A giggly individual, but had a go at me at one point in the Dylan Rounds case, which was a bit odd. And I just want to mention one thing, okay? It's a bit separate, but the irony within it all. So I want every single person watching right now to listen in to what I'm about to say. Over time, you get Americans, some, that call Warlike Raff out. From the UK, why should he be able to cover a case from the US? He shouldn't be allowed to. Why does he even do it? And then criticisms that follow with that. All the whilst you get some of these Americans that have said that then go and do videos themselves or research and go on to Daily Mail, which is a bloody UK media source which reports on topics and news. So you've got Americans calling out an English person from the UK reporting and covering on a US case, saying you shouldn't be doing that. All the whilst the same people are using UK-related media when looking at cases in their own bloody country. Come on, get a grip. Anyway, you get the idea, don't you? I guess this Facebook page or channel has decided to relay videos and footage. As said, hopefully there's no issues with the video that was done today. As said, if this video does disappear, it's probably been taken down out of my control and not by my wishes, if there is copyright. Credit to the individuals who made these videos, for example, this psychic person. And then I guess credit to Bullhorn Bette for her footage. I'll at least try and provide a link to Bullhorn Bette's channel if you want to look at it, if you do. Just out of respect. And yeah, that's pretty much it there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, found it somewhat interesting. Just let me know the feedback down below if you'd like to see more like this, either on this case particular or just in general across all kinds of cases, right? You could argue and say, well, what did we get out of this? A form of common sense, clarity, an outsider perspective. Because take in mind, I'm blind to this case. I've not been around the drama or conflict. I'm a clean, fresh, unharmed, untouched person. Maybe that's what's needed in a case